Sports. Pat, thank you very much for your time. Obviously, busy day. We've had one of the guys at Nashville that joined us, Joe Dubin, on Diego Pavia and the story that Vanderbilt was, and that Pavia, he said that, first of all, Pavia had a tux on and was an absolute rock star today at SEC Media Days.
Listen, guys, my first SEC Media Days was in 1993, and I can go rhyme and verse of the worst Vanderbilt coaches and the players that. And let me tell you something. The entourage. You thought Tim Tebow was walking in the building today when Diego Pavia showed up. Had a beautiful chain on, had a stud earring on. The dude was a rock star, and I mean, he was not doing a lot of interviews. He was very handpicked. Never in my lifetime would I ever anticipate that a Vandy football player or a Vanderbilt coach in this league would find themselves as a rock star status. You know, Beyonce is playing about 1 mile up the road at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I'm telling you, Diego Pavia, he may draw a bigger crowd than Beyonce based on what I saw today.
Look, I'd much rather see Diego Pavia than Beyonce, Pat, but that to each their own. So this Nick Saban rumor kind of got out of control today.
Okay. Yeah. Let me go ahead and start. Okay. So my teammate, Greg McElroy, he does the show before I do. Mm-hmm. So he goes on this morning with Paul Feinbaum, and they have a little discussion about Nick Saban. And then all of a sudden, Brett McMurphy reports and on 3, and then it basically dominated SEC Media Days. And then I finally grabbed Greg about an hour into our show, and I said, man, Greg Stanky is pissed off at you right now because you have now absolutely taken over SEC Media Days with this crazy story. And, of course, Greg was dumbfounded that it took off like it did, and he came on our show, and he basically dispelled all the rumors that, no. I mean, I had a conversation with someone that said, hey, he would love to coach again, but Greg doesn't think he's going to come back into the business because why should he? He hates the way college football is being run right now. The only thing that we kind of kicked around on our show today is that if he ever considered to come back, he did not have a very good experience with the Miami Dolphins. That's why he ended up at Alabama. Could a Jerry Jones tempt him, come, be the head coach of the Star and let me give you a lot of money? Would that maybe for a second make him pause and think about it? But hey, he's got a great life in Jupiter, Florida. Spent a lot of money on a beautiful home down there. He's got a lake home in Lake Burton, still has a place in Tuscaloosa. I just don't know why he would want the headache at that age. So, yeah, it was pretty much one of those things that it was hot for a couple hours, but it was quickly tampered out pretty quickly.
Was Greg just frazzled of I did not say that? Because you say something just casually and next thing you know, you're in the headlines as having said that Nick Saban's coming out of retirement. I just had to imagine that had to be kind of a weird time period.
Yeah, I also asked him, I said, did you get a call from Nick? Did he happen to call you? Because obviously Greg was the quarterback of Nick's first national championship team in Tuscaloosa in 2009 when they beat Texas, as you guys remember. And Greg is from, South Lake.
Yep. We talked to him last week
Texas.
at Big 12 Media Days.
Yeah, he was a part of it.
Yep. Absolutely. And so Greg, I will say this, obviously Greg and knowing Greg for a very long time and being his teammate on the radio for the last few years, I can tell you that he is not a kick over the anthill type guy, and he's not about going viral. He kind of felt bad about the whole situation. So that's why he was very quick to come back on our airwaves and say, okay, look, let's kind of set the record straight here. This is what I said, and this is what I think. And so it's pretty much had a nice, quiet death as the day continued.
I wonder if he had a nice, quiet death text from Nick Saban at some point today.
or maybe Jimmy Sexton, Nick's agent going, you know what, you don't need to be doing that because I'm negotiating with somebody, or, he doesn't want to cut off some money that potentially Nick's going to get. So, yeah. And listen, guys, I was really anticipating that Greg Stanky, would kind of piggyback to, Brett Yormark. He had that one little shot at Brett about the doubling down, what Brett said at Big 12 Media Days. But, he played it pretty close to the vest. It was a pretty boring 45 minutes, the state of the conference type situation. But the buzz around here is that the coaches are not relenting. I mean, they still want the 8 conference games, and they believe that this conference is the toughest in America, and they're not willing to give that up. And if they're not willing to give that up, then all of a sudden, they're not going to be a drafting partner with the Big Ten, it appears. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. But as of today, that's what it looks like.
Pat, I need you to help me out with something. They have this 8 or 9 game schedule debate, which we have talked about with you before.
Sure.
Yeah. Can you change the rhetoric from nobody else would want to play 9 games in this league to, hey, look, 8 or 9, we just want everybody to be the same too. If you guys want to go to 8, we'll welcome that. Like, that to me would be better than telling everybody, like, you wouldn't want to do this. And you're like, well, they would if they get that money. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, if you told the Big 12 right now they're going to get $80 million a year, they'll play 17 conference games. Like, they don't care.
Sure.
But it's really hard here. I think it's fallen on deaf ears.
Yeah, no, listen, there's no doubt. I mean, we want everybody to be on the same playing field. I personally, and I've said it on y'all's show, and I say it on my show every single day, I'm a proponent of 9 conference games. Back in 2020, the SEC played 10 conference games, 10, because obviously you couldn't play any type of non-conference games because of COVID. So what we did is we played 10 conference games. Oh my goodness, it was the best football in the world because every single week, you weren't playing the UT Chattanoogas, you weren't playing Mercers or, the Charleston Southerns. I mean, you were playing big boy football every single week. So I'm a proponent of the 9 conference games. But here you almost have a situation where Tony Petitti at the Big Ten, it's almost like he's already promised the Fox Television Network that, hey, listen, we want these play-in games because we want some extra inventory. Meanwhile, you got the SEC coaches, telling Commissioner Sankey, we don't want to go 9, we want to stay at 8, and ESPN is not willing to pay them a lot more money than the coaches believe that they deserve if they add that extra conference game. So for their opinion, that's where the rubber meets the road in regards to these 2 conferences really being at a stalemate now. Greg told us today that, we need to all work together and we will come to some type of formality in the near future. But as of right now, guys, it looks like both camps are dug in pretty tight.
Pat, Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt getting a lot of attention here on day one as one of the 4 teams. I mean, got a couple of other big-time quarterbacks there in Nussmeier and Lenore Sellers. But just interesting to see the amount of shine and electricity and, I guess, interest that Pavia has brought to a brand that was, the 16 out of 16 or the 14 out of 14 or whatever. Vandy's got some life right now, don't they?
No, they really do, and it's really interesting because I pay very close attention for obvious entertainment purposes only in my state, but I pay attention to what's going on in Vegas. And about a month and a half ago, Vanderbilt they had a win total of 4.5. Well, it is now up to 5.5. And who knows, guys? I mean, seriously, they leave Atlanta. And in another week or two, based on the type of rock star mentality that most of these media and other folks have on Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt football, that might inch to 6.5. I mean, they really do believe that they can play an extended season. And I'm talking about not only going to a bowl game, but finding themselves in some type of crazy conversation for an extended college football playoff appearance. I mean, that's the kind of confidence. And listen, it's good for the conference. It's good for college football that we're having conversations about Vanderbilt because it's never happened before. And you know what? Once Diego Pavia's, eligibility runs out, which might not be until he's 30 years old, once that happens, then you might be looking at a situation where Vanderbilt would go back to the likes of the way they were before. But it is fun, at least having that conversation right now.
How much or did that Vanderbilt win when Jay Cutler was there?
I mean, they won enough. I mean, listen, Bobby Johnson, he won there. Obviously, Franklin was successful there. He parlayed that into a big-time job. Vandy has had their moments, but they just have not been able to win on a consistent basis. Mm-hmm. But when you have a player like Diego Pavia coming in, and because now the level playing field, as long as there's somebody in Nashville that's ready to write a check for somebody, I mean, they can go out like LSU did and sign 18 players to rebuild a roster. I mean, Vanderbilt is proving to people in Nashville that this is a hot product and people want to be a part of it. And that's going to pay dividends for them moving forward in the NIL.
Pat Smith with us, co-host of 3 Man front and on us with us. 365 Sports is one of our go-to guys when it comes to the SEC.
Austin Simmons talked today too, and last year with Jackson Dart and all the things that Ole Miss did, winding up 9-3 and just out of the playoffs was a massive disappointment for them. Austin Simmons steps in, like a lot of those guys are gone. Obviously, Lane Kiffin knows how to rebuild a roster. What do you get the vibe around Ole Miss this year, and are they confident that they can improve on last year, or do you expect them to maybe like continue on the same path but maybe not make that step because they've got so many new players?
Well, first off, they have a lot of confidence in Austin Simmons. This is an extremely intelligent young man. He has already graduated college. He's very young. This guy knows the playbook, and I know it was a very short order of film to look at, but if you watch that drive when Jackson Dart got hurt against Georgia last year, Austin Simmons, he looked like he had the tools to do exactly what Lane Kiffin wants to do. They have a lot of confidence in him. Yeah, they lost a lot of players on the offensive side, but talked to a couple Ole Miss people today, and they feel like right now the ceiling for them is 10-2. They think the schedule is manageable. Yes, they've got to go to Kentucky. The Kentucky Wildcats got their only SEC win at Oxford last year to kind of upend what Lane Kiffin and that team was doing. But Florida gets to come to Oxford. They don't play Alabama. They don't play Auburn. You know, they've got LSU at home. So it's a situation where they feel like their schedule's manageable enough to where they're going to be solidly in that conversation for the college football playoff. It's funny because you got about half the league feeling like Ole Miss could be a team that could go 10-2, but you got the other half that believes that because of the players that they've lost, the questions at quarterback, they think that the Rebels might find themselves more of a 7-8 win team than a 10-win team.
Pat, I mean, I know it's just media days, but is there anything out there from today that you found of interest we haven't touched on? Or if not, what are you looking forward to just as far as the next 3 days go the most?
Well, I tell you, tomorrow is going to be really, really great because, I mean, this is of the 4 days that we're here, you've got Auburn coming in here. Hugh Freeze is under obviously he's on the hot seat because of what's going on with not a lot of wins the last couple of years. His golf game has come in question. He's on the hot seat. You got Georgia here tomorrow with Kirby Smart. Are they reloading? Of course, they've got obviously a new quarterback. Then you've got the 2 UTs. You've got Tennessee. You've got Josh Heupel now without Nico and brand new quarterback from App State. Can they get back to the CFP? And the other UT, which is the University of Texas, is Arch Manning. We'll get our first opportunity to see and hear Arch and see what Sarkisian has to say about the Longhorns. So it is going to be a jam-packed day tomorrow. The 4 teams that's going to be here, there's going to be plenty of storylines.
Have you covered a Super Bowl radio row before, Pat?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not had that fortunate opportunity.
Well, it's like I've compared it to Gangs of New York, the movie.
That's a good movie.
You know, they usually have it in a convention center. They've had it elsewhere, but I was trying to describe SEC Media Days and also how it's grown as, of course, the exposure has grown too.
Yeah, listen, guys, you just came from the Big 12 Media Days, and so it would be fascinating to hear you guys kind of tell me about how it's grown for you guys. But for me, you know, I mentioned earlier, my first one was in 1993 in downtown Birmingham, and literally it was across the street from the SEC headquarters. And it literally, in the radio room, there were 6 of us. 6 of us. And like when a coach came in, he didn't like get up on a podium. He literally pulled a chair up, sat down, and like we had just like open forum, just conversations. Nobody raising your hands. It was like running into a friend at a bar and you guys are just kind of, you know, kibitzing about what's going on in the world. That's the way it was. You didn't have to go through SIDs. And then players would come filtering through there. And it was a completely different time. And then literally once the new millennium kicked in, it was early 2000s, and we moved from downtown Birmingham to a suburb of Birmingham to a 5-star hotel that was attached to the biggest mall in the state of Alabama. And then all of a sudden that literally turned into the media circus of fans showing up in the lobby and showing up and autographs and, you know, thousands of people would submit, you know, submissions for credentials. That's when it really got crazy. And of course now, just like everything, it's more corporate in regards to, you know, what you're able to do, who you're able to talk to and go. It's completely different. So it's definitely had the corporatization of college football has come to the SEC in a big way.
They denied our credentials in Dallas last year, and so
that was ridiculous.
We decided to just take it, not put the pressure on them this year, Pat.
Isn't it amazing how this stuff happens?
We need Pat Smith to run interference because you're a mover and a shaker. I remember Brett McMurphy said, "What do you mean you guys aren't going?" I told him we didn't have our credentials. We can go to the Super Bowl and everything else
That's
imaginable. We'll see where it is next year, but we will try to see. Well, I wouldn't mind being there for a day or two. I think we'd have a hell of a time. And also,
listen. Hey, let me tell you something. It's not been announced yet where it's going to be next year. Now, of course, it was right up the road in Dallas from you guys last year. That'd have been a great opportunity. But I really do believe. I mean, you guys do such a great job covering college football. I really, I'm going to give you a personal invitation to come to next year's SEC Media Days because you guys would absolutely be a hit. You guys would get so much great content. It would be a wonderful trip for you guys. So you need to put that on your calendar.
Well, I mean, I think we will. We'll go to Big 12, give us about 4 or 5 days to decompress and then get set up for the SEC Media Days.
I promise you guys will get credentialed here at the SEC Media Days. I can promise you that.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. Anything else, guys, for Pat Smith? I know it's been a long, busy day for you. Good luck the rest of the week with your coverage. You are always a go-to for us. We appreciate your time.
Oh, guys, you guys are the best. I always appreciate it. You guys have a good afternoon.